statements continue here. I also have a pecking order for you guys as we sort of blend our usual Monday and Tuesday shows together. But the Minnesota Twins had a fun game yesterday against the White Sox. We're trying to make up for a bad first half of the season. So, I don't know, why don't we throw it to Judd here for Twins statements on this Tuesday.
All right,
and then I'll get to that pecking order, Dex, here shortly. You pop that up on the screen there. Being Johnny on the spot producer there.
Oh, here we go. Weekend statements. All right,
That's the same thing.
Weekend statement. Number one about the Twins. Nice rebound. All right. So the disaster in Cleveland, which was just a complete debacle. I mean, Pagan blowing up the bullpen, absolutely getting lit up, and a series that looked like it could have some long-term effects of how are they going to come back from that. They didn't hit the ball that well against Baltimore in the 3-game series, but you know what? They came back in the first 2 games to walk the O's off, and that's a pretty good bullpen too. And so they lost game 3, but then as Phil just said, they also came back and won game 1 at Chicago. I believe the Twins now have played 4 games against the White Sox in 2022 and have won all 4. So that's a nice comeback. Like, this team can be weird, and as we talked about with Royce, it could certainly be frustrating from a decision standpoint at times. But the one thing that I really see from the players, at least, that takes me back to 2019, they're really resilient. Like, they don't get caught up in that Cleveland thing could have just really scarred them. Like, that could be like, oh, we can't trust anybody anymore in the bullpen. What the hell's going on? It could have scarred them. It really didn't. And I believe in the 3 games against the Orioles, they scored a total of 8 runs. I think in innings 1 through 6, they scored 1 run in 3 games. So, like, they didn't hit and still won 2 of 3. So I like the fact that this team, especially to credit the players, has a resiliency about it where they don't get stuck on what might go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's been such a weird season with, I feel like, so many reasons to potentially melt down to this point, and they just haven't. And, the White Sox are coming in here. They see the Twins on their schedule, 8 times or whatever, 7 or 8 times in the next 2 weeks, and they say, all right, this is our time now to make up ground. And the Twins, as at least in that game yesterday, said, no, actually, we're gonna throw you further down that American League Central ladder. So I think with the injuries to the White Sox and the weird vibe with Tony La Russa, and the Guardians are feisty, but also I don't know that roster is made for 162 games. I think the Twins, as of right now, even with their flaws, are just the best team in this division. They have a 75% chance to make the playoffs, according to Baseball Reference this morning. And if they add a couple pitchers to that bullpen and maybe a starter, that percentage probably only goes up in the next 2 or 3 months.
The Guards, if I'm not mistaken,
the Guards
yesterday got swept.
Stu.
The Guards got swept by Detroit.
Here comes Cleveland.
In a double dip. So, yeah. I think the Guardians, it's one of those weird years where they seem to have the Twins, where they seem to beat the Twins consistently, but I think the Twins are probably the best team in the Central. I think you're right.
Dax?
My statement is stop worrying about tomorrow and worry about today. And what I mean by that, and this also goes back to, honestly, to our Wolves statement too, when they were trying to figure out the Twins, when they were trying to figure out their bullpen plan yesterday, well, maybe we could do Jax for 2, but if we burn Duran today, then he can't throw tomorrow. It's like, all right, what are we worried about Tuesdays and Wednesdays game? Right now, you're up 2-1. You have a lead against your division rival. What are we worried about our relievers plan for Tuesday and Wednesday when the game is in hand right now and you need to take it away and get the W? I'm not worried necessarily about winning Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm worried about winning today. That should be the first philosophy. And for whatever reason, we just complicate this with the pitching staff. And yes, Dylan Bundy's numbers go up when he faces the 3rd time through the order. Every pitcher in baseball's numbers get worse when they face an order 3rd time through, okay? So let Bundy even continue to go and monitor him. And if you want to use Jose Duran in that game, then use your best reliever. Don't worry about using him tomorrow or Wednesday. He's Jhoan Duran, whatever the hell his name, whatever slappy they want to use.
You don't even care what his name is.
That's not named
Duran.
Duran.
Slappy. Don't call him a slappy. brings
My
it.
point is worry about the game today. Don't be worrying about what's going to happen in Tuesday, Wednesday. If you have to throw Caleb Thielbar on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's fine. Worry about getting the win in the forefront. Don't worry about the next games.
All right, I think this is a good opportunity since Declan brought his name up for my statement to be apologize to Dylan Bundy, Judd.
I
Go
said
ahead.
last night on
Go
Twitter,
ahead.
someone said, if he wins a playoff game, will you apologize? And I said, yes, 100%. Because
Look
he
at
has
you,
no chance. They'll
moving the
never let him
goalpost.
get through 5. They'll never allow him to
I
get
think
through
I'm pretty
5.
sure at some point you said June was kind of your mark. That
Yeah,
I
but
think
then
at the
he fell
beginning
apart
you
for a
said
while,
June.
and now he's
He
come
only has
back.
like 2 bad starts.
I don't know what. You know what? I'm
He
still
has
not there
he
yet.
has 3 train wreck starts that I would consider. So he had at
Okay.
Tampa Bay in April. He gave up 6 earned runs in 6 innings, but he gave you 6. He battled his tail off. But we're going to count that as
thanks,
a train
Guard.
wreck.
Thanks, Gardy.
And then
Yeah,
the next
we
start,
left him
he gave up 9 earned runs in 3 2/3 at
Yeah.
Baltimore in the next start.
That's
and then he
Garden.
came back, couple nice starts. There's a 6 innings, 4 runs. That's not a train wreck. That happens. And then there was the 5 runs in 2 1/3 against Toronto, and then kind of a bad start against the Yankees. So he's made 14 starts. 4 of them are pretty bad. 10 of them have been either really, really good or give yourself a chance to win
All
a
right,
game.
I'll take a
because
longer
it's the
look at
5th or
this.
6th inning.
I'll take a longer look at this. But I mean,
No,
Rocco
we're
and I
giving you the
didn't
long
even
look
trust
right
him.
now. We're giving you
Yeah.
all the reasons.
Rocco and I
to-
didn't even trust him last night. Okay.
And then
I mean,
in
Rocco
these
called me, he's
last
like,
4
what should I do? I
games,
said, lift him.
in these last 4 games, 2 of them on the road against division opponents that are chasing you, 24 innings. He has a 1.88 earned run average, and opponents have a 543 OPS against him. All right,
Oh, what a reclamation
spin rate.
project! What a.
it is, dude. He's been exactly
I know.
what you hoped this
I
season.
just said,
No,
what
you
a
don't
reclamation
know.
project.
You're denying
I said,
it.
what a reclamation project. No, I'm not. I am on board. Congratulations to Dylan
This is
Bundy.
caked in sarcasm. Can you not? Can you? So you're saying if I would have told
He
you
was
at
good
the
last
beginning
night.
of the year, okay,
Yep.
he's going to have 14 starts through the first 3 months of the season. 10 of them are going to be very good. His ERA is going to be a little inflated because of the 9 earned runs he gave up against Baltimore. But largely he's going to be just a really good number 5 starter.
I feel
But
like
that's not enough for you.
I feel like my refusal to apologize to Bundy is just fueling him. So if I apologize now, his season's going to come unglued. So it's very important that I continue to challenge him. Herb Brooks I'm challenging him again.
All right, I guess we'll just keep seeing
Just
it
wait.
from
Just
old
wait.
Dylan.
I hope he continues to bring it. All right. My statement is, it's a pleasure to watch. And right now you're thinking, oh, he's going to talk about Buxton, because Buxton clearly is. But I'm not. I want to talk about the play, and forget what he does at the plate. I want to talk about the play of Carlos Correa at shortstop. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are watching, and I have started to, I'm guilty already of taking it for granted. This guy is making plays that how many Twins shortstops in the last, 15 years, take your pick, didn't make. And he's making them look easy. He made the play that Kirilloff made a nice play to get the tag, but before his foot came off the bag last night, I just sort of was like, oh, that's a nice play. I went back and watched it. It wasn't a nice play. It was an unbelievably outstanding play. He can throw without setting himself at all. Like he literally, and he throws it like he's throwing from second base, and he's throwing it from shortstop. I just want us to stop and realize right now what a pleasure it is to watch a guy play a premium spot, a hard position where this team has had huge trouble finding guys, and that he plays it like he does almost every single game. This is a special year defensively, if nothing else, to get the chance to watch what a real all-star premium shortstop is.
I hope the Twins understand this. I hope that you have this guy in his prime and Buxton in his prime, and they're both fairly healthy. That this is right now they're playing at like an 89 win pace. I believe like 88, 89 win pace, which is good enough to win this very mediocre division. But they've got some guys on the team that if you can just give them a couple more pieces here and there, Kirilloff's bat is going, but it just feels like how often are you going to have this many top how often are you going to have a shortstop of this caliber, a center fielder of this caliber, Jorge Polanco at second base? It's just not. It's so hard to find a shortstop ever. Look at this franchise, like you said, going back to Christian Guzman had a couple great years, and basically since then it's just been a revolving door of Jason Bartlett's and Pedro Floramones, and put Punto over there for 5 minutes, and this might only be a one-season thing. I hope they take advantage of it. I hope they see the opportunity in front of them. I guess we'll see.
My statement is it's basically all wrapped up. So Luis Arraez is hitting .348 this season, which is just absurd. Yep. And doing it in old school ways, right? With basically not a lot of power, but still just finds ways to get extra base hits and is just a treat, an awesome guy to watch. He right now is leading the AL with a .348 average. The next closest player in the American League batting average race is Rafael Devers of the Red Sox, who is hitting .327. Wow. He has a 20-point lead on Rafael Devers. And now look, baseball swoons will happen, right? There'll be some regression, I'm sure, at some point maybe to Luis Arraez's game. But you know what? The guy's played 318 games in his MLB career, and he's a career .321 hitter, man. Like, this guy just knows how to hit. He has the batting average race essentially all sewn up. He is that old school player that really is kind of fun to watch because you don't see him anymore. And yeah, I think he's going to win the batting average race.
I think it's a little early to say it's sewn up, but I agree that he's the heavy favorite to win the batting title race. What does the batting title race mean to you guys and to the greater public anymore? I feel like it was such a huge deal for decades and decades in baseball, and now it's like, can you even really name the batting title winners from the past 10 years?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
I don't want to. I'm just. I think we've minimized batting average so much that.
Yeah, it's true.
But I think getting to watch Arraez on a daily basis is so much fun, and you realize why. I think what it does is it helps you put into context that average is important because of his approach. So it's like if you watch his at bats, he's, for lack of a better term, a magician with a bat. Like that guy, his ability to basically foul balls off, keep at bats alive. Like, so that to me is where he's special, because we are now in an era of where a lot of guys, work on their swing plane, try and hit fly balls, home runs. Arraez hits line drives, and he does it at the end of at bats that are just magnificent works of art. And like, I have fallen back in love more again with baseball this year because of watching him. Like, I'm reminded of what the art is. I'm reminded of the art because, like, home runs are fine, right? But like when you're watching guys launch angle and swing planes, I don't like. I get that that's its own art, but that doesn't excite me as much. Arraez is like a great painter, and he's got this blank canvas. It's called the field, and he's spraying the ball around. He's keeping at bats alive. I have such an appreciation for what he's done.
I feel like your wife would be jealous of the way that you romanticize about batting average. She would say, I wish that my husband would talk about me and look at me in the way that he looks at Wade Boggs
baseball.
From the early 1990s.
Oh, Tony Gwynn? Are you telling me that Gwynn Carew, they're magicians, my man. Magicians with the bat. That bat is a magic wand in their hands, and they have control. They have control that the vast majority of people who even play their game don't have that control.
Yeah. No, he is super fun to watch, and what makes his batting average, I guess, I'm not going to say that it's a wrap with 3 months to go, but the fact that he doesn't really strike out too, he's going to have to get really unlucky. He's either going to have to strike out a lot more to go into a huge swoon, or just get really unlucky with batted balls not sneaking through the infield or something, because he puts everything in play. He only strikes out 8% of his plate appearances, which is ridiculous. Buxton's like 30%.
Yep. No
kind
question.
of polar opposite hitters there. Buxton's more of a feast or famine guy. All right, my next statement is Duran is the filthiest reliever I have seen in 30-plus years watching Twins baseball. And I'm trying not to be overreactionary guy, but he is literally leading the major leagues in fastball velocity, 100.5 miles per hour or something on his four-seam. Did you see some of the swings those guys were taking on his 90-mile-an-hour breaking pitches, too?
They had no chance.
It's ridiculous. And I agree with Royce, what he said on the Rap with Royce episode. Okay, when you're throwing 101 miles an hour and hitters aren't touching it, don't feel like you need to throw 6 breaking balls to the next guy. Okay? Just keep throwing that 100 miles an hour. Which brings me to a segment within a segment here. I have a pecking order for you inspired by our listener, Spencer Crabb, sent me an email last night saying, hey, what's up, Phil? After listening to Glenn Perkins on the broadcast and watching Duran, it made me think of a good pecking order, all-time Twins relievers in their prime. So not like body of work Twins relievers, but if you can, he said either 1 year or 10 years, whatever, the tenure doesn't matter. Make a pecking order of the best Twins relievers at their peak. So I have for you guys 10 Twins relievers and the specific window that I would, if I had to build a bullpen, these would be the 10 guys that I would lean on.
Nice.
3 honorable mentions. 2002 J.C. Romero. It's a tough lefty. Pre-elbow surgery Pat Neshek in 2006 was filthy.
Yep.
And Game 163 Bobby Keppel, also an honorable mention for his inning in the third of tightrope walking.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so tell me if you guys agree or disagree if I'm leaving anyone off here. Number 10, Taylor Rogers. Just like the basically the 3 best years of Taylor Rogers, who I think is quietly one of the more dominant relievers in Twins history. Certainly left-handed relievers. Okay. Jhoan Duran, or Duran, as I say in my Minnesota accent. I have him at number 9.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This current version of Duran is one of the most unhittable guys we've seen in Twins history. Now, he's got to prove it in the playoffs at some point, but...
Yeah.
Oh, you think he should be higher?
Well, no. I thought, because you're big on impact, like, in short periods of time at some points, and so I thought he'd be like 5 or something. Anyway,
if we see in the playoffs, I think he could take a jump up.
Fair enough.
Okay, number 8, 2013 through 15, Glenn Perkins.
Okay.
That slider down and into right-handed batters.
All-star at least twice, if not 3 times, right?
Hey, closed out one, too.
3 consecutive, yep.
Yeah, he closed out the game here.
Got to give some love to number 7 here, mid-1960s, Al Worthington.
Oh,
Al.
A Royce favorite.
Yeah.
Big strikeout guy for the era, which there wasn't many strikeouts back in the day. And he was chucking like 90 innings per season, closing out games.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Look at those guys. They just throw them out there. Hey, go out there and pitch the rest of the game. But it's the 6th. I don't care. Go out and pitch the rest of the game.
That's fine. Go do it, Al. And then, so Al was the best reliever on some of the best Twins teams in history there in the mid to late 1960s.
Okay.
All right, number 6, late 80s, Jeff Reardon.
Yep.
Like 87, 88.
Yep.
I think 88 was his best season.
Got the ground ball. Guide to Herbeck. And the Twins are world champions.
There it is. Herb Carneal right there. Okay, number 5, early 2000s, Eddie Guardado. And I initially wasn't going to put him high on the list because I was like, God, he always walked the plank, didn't he? Wasn't he just kind of...
Eddie?
No, Eddie had a couple seasons where he was among the league leaders in strikeouts for relievers and was ERAs in the low 2s and stuff. Tons of saves. So everyday Eddie was, I think sometimes we remember him as a plank walker because that's what he was in some portions, but he was pretty lights out for like 2 or 3 years there.
Okay.
Number 4, asterisk on this guy, but that's okay. 2004 Juan Rincon. Just filthy.
Oh, wow.
11 and a half strikeouts per 9. He was one of the best setup guys in the major leagues.
I feel like that's a little high. I feel like that's slightly high.
I'm telling you, 2004 steroid-aided Juan
Dex,
Rincon.
what's to look for, Dex?
No way. Number 4 ahead of Reardon, and he gave up that just absolute moonshot. The Ruben Sierra thing hurts it. Don't get me wrong. I was there. My little 11-year-old heart was crushed.
You're still
in the moment. I think 4th is awfully high.
Okay. No, we could debate this. I could put Reardon above Juan Rincon. But Juan Rincon on some of the best teams in the major league. The Twins were some of the best teams in the major leagues in the early 2000s.
Yep.
In 2004, he had 12 strikeouts per 9 innings, which for that era was among the best rates in all of baseball. 106 strikeouts as a reliever that season.
That's pretty
and was Joe Nathan's main setup guy that helped take the Twins to, whatever it was, division title number 3. So you want to move him down a couple pegs, that's fine.
I like Reardon up in your top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We'll put Jeff Reardon up at 4, and we'll put Juan Rincon outside of the top 5.
All right.
I'm okay with
already.
that. I'm okay with it. Okay. You might hate this next one then, too. Number 3 is the 8th inning version of LaTroy Hawkins. Let me explain. So he was garbage as a closer. Just like he blew the first round. I think he might have had some closing attempts later in his career. But he was almost single-handedly responsible for blowing that lead in the second half of the season in 2001.
Right.
And then they said, all right, let's move you into a different role here. Let's have you pitch in the 7th and 8th innings. By the way, in the middle of the steroid era. This is prime like Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and these guys. This is early 2000s baseball. And he comes out in 2002 and puts up a 2.13 earned run average, striking out almost a batter per inning. The next season, 2003, middle of the steroid era, a 1.86 ERA for LaTroy Hawkins. Just dominant, untouchable as a reliever in the 8th, 7th, 8th innings of 2002, 2003.
I'm offended again. I feel like Reardon should be above Hawk.
He was really good as that setup, man. I was watching that rain delay coverage, I think it was on Saturday when they were delayed in Minneapolis. And, and I love when baseball networks and has to pivot to rain. Like, well, what are we going to do for an hour and a half? We can't talk about anything.
Diamond Awards.
So they were playing the 2002 team and stuff. And they were talking about how damn good LaTroy, JC Romero, those guys were. I mean, he was pretty good, dude.
Yeah, but I still think
I feel like you're. I'll hear you on
a guy that won a World Series too.
But the season that Jeff Reardon won the World Series, he gave up 14 home runs in 63 appearances, had a 4.5 ERA. So yes, playoff run, and maybe I'm going too stat heavy here, but
and then he came back the next year and pitched.
Yeah, he was 1988 was probably his best season for sure with the Twins. So. All right, and maybe because he did it in the 9th inning, it's more valuable than what LaTroy Hawkins did in the 8th inning in the early 2000s.
Yep.
So I could hear you on that.
Okay.
All right, number 2, 1991 through 1993, Rick Aguilera.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, he was great.
And then number 1, peak Joe Nathan. So whatever the 4 years of peak Joe Nathan here.
They got Joe in the winter of 2003, is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Before the 2003 season, yes. So if it was January of 2003. Now, people are going to say with Joe Nathan, well, wait a second now. Joe Nathan never did it in the World Series like Rick Aguilera, and that is true. Mm-hmm. And Joe Nathan, I think, is remembered for giving up bombs to Yankees hitters. But if you look at his numbers and his regular season dominance, playoffs were a little bit of a small sample size, but he didn't perform. His numbers are second in that era, basically, to Mariano Rivera.
Yeah. He was
so
the
to
second
me,
best closer.
He's the best peak reliever in Twins history.
All right.
Yeah. In the playoffs, he is terrible. I mean, he has an 8 ERA and 10 innings pitched. Came in 10 different games. Even with Texas and Detroit, he wasn't great either. But, in the regular season, the guy was money. But he also, he was sweaty and twitchy. Even though he was good, he never really still felt great.
Some closers are like that, man.
It's true.
Some closers... sweaty, twitchy, nervous.
I would love to be a closer.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
It's one of the last jobs I would want.
I think it'd be fun.
I don't know.
If I could just get God-given ability to be good at baseball.
Right.
I certainly wasn't in my regular life. I would love to be a closer.
Interesting.
Just have some walkout music.
Yeah. Anytime I did MLB The Show, career to the show, road to the show mode is what it's called. I always picked reliever because I just wanted to be the closer to close out the game. And then totally never would throw my controller if I blew the safe.
never threw
never
it
happened.
Never happened.
Road to the show.
Road to the show.
All right.
There's the pecking order. Judd, you seem awfully quiet on this pecking order. Like you disagree with a lot of these things here.
No, I disagreed with where you put Reardon. The LaTroy thing surprised me a bit just because he did indeed fail in closing, but then to your point was very good as a setup man. I was actually thinking, would I flip Aguilera and Nathan? But in their prime, if we're talking about regular season success, I think it's probably fair I was only, I guess, perplexed by where Reardon initially was. Beyond that, I think it's fair. I thought you would put Duran higher right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it for 3 months.
It's also 3 months, so that's fine. That's fine. On Taylor, how much thought did you have to him being higher than 10? Taylor Rogers.
Not much. I don't know. I mean, mostly just because I was drinking on the 4th of July yesterday and kind of threw this list together.
Good for you.
Well, that might be why.
But if you allowed me to put more thought into it, would I move him up above Al Worthington? Probably not. Glenn Perkins? No. Perk was more dominant than Rogers, I think. I think you guys are underestimating steroid Juan Rincon here. If you want to move him down because of the steroids, we can have that conversation.
No love or even honorable mention for Jesse Crane?
Jesse Crane was not a dominant Twins reliever. He was not. If you go back and look at Jesse Crane, he was like the 3rd or 4th guy in those bullpens for the most part. He finally kind of clicked at the very end of his Twins career, but it was too late by then.
They just bounced around and
the Crane train
found his stuff, right?
His best season of his career was the last year he was in the bigs, and then just kind of walked away. Yeah,
he had a major
super good with the White
major
Sox.
Injury issues. I think he had maybe like shoulder surgery that went sideways or something.
He allowed 3 runs all season with the White Sox in 2013, and then never pitched again.
And that was
solid list, though. It's a solid list.
All
it's
right,
a very solid list.
I'm not pecking order.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Good.
I feel like we're getting a lot of insincere Judd today.
No, it's no.
I feel like the entire show has been insincere Judd.
That's
just like
BS. I like this list. This list is fine. I told you I had one problem. You know what? Sometimes I look at a list and say this list is pretty good, and then I don't try and change things about it.
All right.
Very sincere Judd right here.
Tomorrow is where insincere Judd admits that he was wrong on Write That Down and an accountability session. Real quick, why don't you tell the audience where insincere Judd loses weight too?
That would be, of course, with my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. And look, you know what? I want to talk about teamwork right now because Dawn has joined me in the weight loss journey. She's down 5+ pounds, and she's right now continues to drop the weight. I've dropped 40 some odd pounds, and I am maintaining my weight loss. And right now, here's the offer where I can tell you, you can join the same plan because teamwork works. The Simple Start plan, only $59, $855, go LIVEA, Livia.com, LIVEA.com, inside or outside the state. You can sign up, you can drop the weight, and then, as I just said, most importantly, because this is the hardest thing, keep the weight off, Livia, LIVEA.com.
Awesome. All right, Mackie and Judd, daily Rudy Gobert entertainment here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for a Write That Down Wednesday.